Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait about another minute to let a few more people enter from the waiting room, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. If you all wouldn't mind, if you're comfortable putting your videos on, I would like to welcome you to our webinar. My name is Sheila Gold. I'm the Executive Director of Admissions for the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. Halima Leek-Francis, who's the Program Director, and we also have our colleague Ann Conlon in the back, letting people in from the waiting room and advancing the screens. If you all wouldn't mind, we kind of start off our webinars. We like to know where everyone's joining us from. So if you wouldn't mind going into the chat at the bottom of the screen and just putting your name and what city you're joining us from. It's just a little icebreaker and a way for us to get to know where our prospective students are joining us from, and how we can help you learn more about the program. So the chat function is right at the bottom of your screen. We'll put a little, I'll put a little welcome to everybody in there. And so you can see, I just put it in, and just if you're comfortable, put your name and what city you're calling in from. That would be great. So while you all are doing that, and while Anne is letting people, New Orleans, Sharon's from New Orleans. Welcome, Sharon. Anybody else comfortable dropping in? Chris from New Orleans, a little bit of a local crowd today. Anybody else from outside of New Orleans? Feel free to go ahead and put your city in there. And we'll go ahead and start the webinar. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the school, how to apply, some information about financial tuition rates and financial aid. And then Dr. Leek-Francis will talk a little bit more about the academics of our program. So just a little bit about the history of our school. Tulane University itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. It was actually founded as a response to the yellow fever epidemic back in the 1830s. Yellow fever hit this region very hard. And so as a result, this Medical College of Louisiana popped up. Shortly thereafter, it became Tulane University, and within its first 50 years of being a university, it started the first iteration of what we now call the School of Professional Advancement. Essentially, back in the 1880s, Tulane had a commitment to our own community, to our own citizens of New Orleans and of this region. We wanted to make sure that we could offer our Tulane education to our own citizens and create a community of educated professionals. So we started offering evening classes and nighttime classes and flexible classes to working professionals in New Orleans. 130 years later, we're still doing the same thing, but we can also reach out much further than New Orleans because many of our graduate programs are online. So we have students from all around the country, actually all around the world, who come to Tulane, but they take advantage of our flexible scheduling and our online programs. That way they can continue to be working adults while advancing their career by getting additional education. So we certainly hope that you all are here to learn more about that today. So we're going to touch on a few things in this webinar. We're going to talk a little bit about our expertise in online education. We're going to talk about the strength of our program and our faculty. We're going to touch on our student support because we support students, I think, the best out of the whole Tulane University. We're going to talk about our affordability and our flexibility so that you can be able to understand how you can juggle your commitment of work, maybe family commitments, while also committing yourself to go back to school. And then we're also going to talk about the strength of a Tulane degree. So just a little bit about online instruction at SOPA. We talk about this specifically because we have been doing online instruction for years at SOPA. Many schools had to pivot to online instruction when the pandemic hit, when COVID-19 happened. At SOPA, we were actually incredibly well positioned to bring what classes weren't online. Many of our classes already were online and had been for years. And the reason that we share that with students is because when you think of online instruction, oftentimes students think about kind of clicking through PowerPoints on their own, feeling somewhat kind of isolated because you're learning on your own. And not having a very engaging curriculum. What I like to explain is that at SOPA, we actually have our courses developed by what are called instructional designers. These are master's level educators. They have their master's in education, and their particular expertise is curriculum design. And that means that they have studied how to take traditional curriculum that you would learn in the classroom, sitting at a desk in front of a professor, and translate that to the online space. And what that results in are classes where you get to engage with other students, where you have interactions, you have engaging projects. You might be brought into small groups. You might have project work in between your class sessions. You might have discussion boards where you have to interact with each other. You certainly have an opportunity to meet your classmates, and you definitely have an opportunity to build relationships with your professors. So this is not an isolated sort of boring click through a PowerPoint type of online instruction. And then you do once a month have class sessions where you meet with your professor, meet with your other classmates, very similar to the format that you're in now. And so you certainly have a classroom experience. We are more than happy to answer questions about that, but I think that our students find that they are pleasantly surprised by how engaging and challenging the online curriculum is. We also have opportunities for our students to sit in on classes. So if you ever want an opportunity to visit a class before you enroll in SOPA, you'll get invited to do that as well. And we encourage all of our prospective students to take us up on that opportunity. Okay. Um, so just a little bit of data, because in education we love data. At this point, and these numbers are probably a little light, they probably should be increased because these are a couple months old. We have taught approximately 1,400 students over 1,300 hours of online coursework. So that is just to show that we've been doing this for a while and that we do a good job at it. We have over eight master's degrees, 11 graduate certificates, 4 post-bac certificates, and over 300 courses that were all developed to be taught online. And what's also important is that we've trained over 200 faculty members how to do online instruction. So our faculty understand how to work with online students and engage them. So that does make all the difference when it comes to having the experience of our classes versus other classes. Next slide. So a little bit about some of our professors. All of our professors are practitioners in the field. So that's important to know because you learn from folks who have actually done or are doing what it is that you're learning to do. So just a little bit of information about our professors. This is just a little smattering. Ashley Hand is the former Chief Innovation Officer for Kansas City, Missouri. Erica Flood Moultrie. Did I pronounce her name correctly, Dr. Francis? Moultrie, yes, leads the Dallas Racial Healing Initiative. Neil Kleiman is an expert on city and state government. And Mark Funkhauser is the former mayor of Kansas City, Missouri. So these are the folks that you'll be learning from. You're going to be learning from much more than just the texts and the reading and your classwork, but you also will be taught to do by people who are doing. And so I always think of when I was in school getting my degrees, and I would always enjoy learning from professors who were doing what it was that I was studying, so that when we would be discussing a topic, in my head, I always wondered, what does that look like? What does that look like when I am working in a nonprofit? Or what does that look like when I am working with a client? Well, these folks can tell you. And so we certainly hope that you'll understand that learning from working professionals adds an extra layer of experiential learning for you all. All right, next slide, please. All right, I am going to hand it over to Dr. Leek Francis to talk a little bit about the curriculum.
Thanks, Sheila, and welcome to everyone who's joined us. If you could go back to the previous slide, I want to share some other things about our faculty. As Sheila shared, these are some of the faculty members who teach and who have designed courses within the public administration program. And what I'd like to highlight about our faculty, along with their expertise and their credentials, is that they have stood at the forefront of some of the most innovative projects and programs throughout our nation. So our faculty is representative of a national presence. They are representative of programs that have led change and progress in areas such as equity and inclusion, civic resilience, across all sectors. So they've worked in areas including government, nonprofits, philanthropy, corporate settings, and in academic settings. So as you consider this program, one of our strengths is definitely our faculty. Our faculty stands far and above as a resource and a strength for our program. And I will say that our faculty is very much committed to the success of our students. And talking to students, I often hear that our faculty members connect them with opportunities, they connect them with resources, and they support their academic career. So one of the faculty members actually told a student who was having some challenges, because life happens, you don't get to quit. So having that type of faculty who is very invested is critically important to the success of this program. So next slide. So looking at the public administration program overall, here's our mission and what our focus is. And just to kind of give you a breakdown of what's involved and what's entailed in the program, if you're seeking an MPA, you'll be ultimately taking 12 courses that are focused on applied practice. So we're really preparing you to be a practitioner, to be a civic leader, whether you work in, again, nonprofit, government, corporate settings, or philanthropic settings. So we really work to ensure that you're prepared to navigate kind of those cross-sector diverse settings within public administration. These courses provide you with foundational knowledge as well as contemporary practice innovation. So during our coursework or within our classes, you get the opportunity to experience some of the newer projects that are on the horizon. And that's one of the things about this program, is that we speak directly to contemporary issues. So in preparing you for practice, you'll find that a lot of the coursework that you're doing involves proposals, perhaps policy proposals, or a collective impact proposal that encourages you to think about collaboration within a city. You may take a class in data that is asking you to grapple with a specific problem that data can be relevant in solving. So as you think about the courses that you take throughout the program, we really center on the applied element. And again, as I shared earlier, the faculty who you'll be engaging with, they bring not only those academic qualifications, but the expertise from the field. Next slide, please. Our program is flexible and highly accessible. The MPA program and our graduate certificates are online. So the entire program is online. One element that we have that's in person that we'll talk about a little bit later is our residency. But for the most part, the program is online, and we have a synchronous and asynchronous kind of combination of experience. And what that means is that you will have class meetings on an average about monthly, but also you do have individual work that you do as you're navigating your courses. We speak to, or our courses are designed for early career professionals. So if you're just graduating from undergrad and you're looking to move into public administration as a career field, it's certainly a great opportunity for you to gain some great experience. Mid-career professionals, if you are looking to advance in your career, you're already in service or in practice. If you're looking to advance or pivot, perhaps, we also are a very valuable program for those situations as well, because we expose our students across the board to real life experiences and real life work within the field. We also offer graduate standalone certificates, and I'll share a little bit later what those certificates are. But ultimately, our graduate standalone certificates offer you the opportunity, if you want to build or start off by building some specialized expertise in a particular area, then the graduate certificates are a great approach for you. And that's really good, especially I would say for students who do have a degree of experience in the field, who think that they would benefit more immediately from starting with a graduate certificate. And those graduate certificates actually fold into or stack into the MPA degree, so if you'd like to complete that later on. So our timeline for completion, you could complete the whole degree, all 12 classes or 36 credit hours within 1 year, 1 calendar year. That would be across the fall, summer, and spring terms. And that would require you taking 4 classes or 12 credit hours a term. That option is recommended for students who are not working, who are currently not in service, and don't have any significant commitments that would be a barrier to being successful. I will say that that 1 year timeline is pretty rigorous because it's 4 graduate level courses a term. So it's important that you do have the bandwidth and the capacity to do that. 2 years is a completion term, or what most of our students are on track for currently. And what that would mean is that you would be taking about 2 classes, or at least 2 classes a semester or a term. So that would put you on track if you were taking 2 classes or 6 credit hours, fall, spring, and summer back to back. You could complete the program in 2 years. So the time investment is pretty feasible, and it does allow you to move pretty quickly through the program. Next slide. So as I shared before, our program does require 12 courses ultimately. So 7 of those courses are core courses, and they include policy foundations, a data course, technology. We have an equity course as well. So they really focus on laying that groundwork for understanding what civic sector work means and what it looks like. The 7th course, or the last required course rather, would be our capstone. And typically that course is taken at the very end of the program after you've completed all your coursework. The remaining courses would be comprised of concentration or elective courses. We do have some distinct concentration areas, and they're listed here. And those concentrations, to complete those, it's 4 courses, and you would get an additional elective course or take an additional elective course. So what some students will do is they'll complete, for instance, the nonprofit and strategic philanthropy management concentration, but perhaps they also have an interest in economic development. So they'll use one of those courses or take one of those courses as an elective to complete out their coursework. Economic development and environmental management, you'll see here, they are slated to start as certificates and concentrations in the fall semester. So that's coming up pretty quickly. But if you're a student who's interested in the full MPA rather than the certificate, you can go ahead and honestly get started now in the summer and then go very quickly into your concentration courses. Next slide, please. So our experiential components, and I touched on this a little bit, the applied research in the capstone is one of our key experiential components. And the way that that is designed is as a residency, or I'm sorry, is designed as a consultancy rather, where you will be doing hands-on work addressing a specific issue in an organization, within a city, and every year it's designed to be themed. So this year, the upcoming capstone is going to really focus on building resilient cities, given the complexities of what we've seen in the past year, the full spectrum of them, including COVID. So, we really work to make sure that the capstone work, or the work that you're doing in the capstone, one, positions you to have something that can be reflected on your resume, that you can take into practice with you and say, hey, I've worked on a specific problem and done the hands-on work, done the hands-on research to really understand these things in depth. And then also, secondly, I would say to really give you exposure to opportunities and contacts and connections within the field. So sometimes students will elect to do their capstone project on site at a company where they're already employed, or we can work with you to help connect you to a capstone site. So there's several options there, and we're really flexible in designing the capstone that makes the most sense for you. For students who do not have experience, and that's usually about a minimum of 3 years of experience, we do ask that you complete an internship, and that can be folded into the capstone. And how that works is I'll work in consultation with you to figure out the best design that makes the most sense for you, given what your capacity is and timing. The other experiential component is our required residency that takes place here in New Orleans. And the residency is typically a 3-day series of workshops, panel discussions, networking opportunities, where you can meet with a host of professionals who work in the field, build your contacts, and also do some hands-on learning. This year, it was scheduled for June 3rd through the 6th. It was canceled due to the COVID uncertainties, and that requirement has been waived for this year. But next year in 2022, we're already planning for the residency to take place. The residency can be completed at any point in your matriculation in the program. So even if you're in your first year or in your first term, then you can still do the residency on the front end if you choose to. So it can be completed at any point. We don't have restrictions on that. And I see that I have a question here from Susanna about certain years of experience, teaching experience for the K through 12 education leadership concentration. No, you don't have to have a certain amount of teaching experience. The K through 12 concentration, it's really interesting because it's designed for individuals who are really working in non-instructional roles, although it does relate to certain certifications within education, and it can be used for that, but it's really focused on education leadership in its diverse forms. So that could be leadership within the nonprofit sector, it could be leadership in policy. It's really a broad approach to education leadership that is not so tied to instructional roles. So no, teaching experience is not required for that. You're welcome. So career options. So to give you an understanding or some insight into what civic practice looks like, and I get this question often, like, what can you do with an MPA degree? And the answer is it's very broad. There's a lot that you can do. As long as we have civic challenges and the need for people to provide solutions and leadership, there will be careers, there will be job opportunities in this field. As you can see that from some of the statistics that we have listed here, we have projected growth in MPA related jobs, 5% nationally and 14% in the Southeast through the year 2026. I have to say, I pulled this stat pre-COVID, so I think it probably has quadrupled even, just given all the things that we're dealing with. As I've echoed throughout this conversation and this presentation, career opportunities span different fields and different sectors. So in this program, we put a lot of emphasis on cross-sector and intersectional work. So government, nonprofits, and the private sector. The majority of the people I know who have worked in this space have worked in all or multiple spaces. So really, we want to be able to prepare you to float within all of the relevant spaces throughout the civic sector if you so choose. There's a listing here of various career paths or various jobs that you could pursue, but it's certainly not an exhaustive list. When I think about career options that are related to the civic sector, I've seen also where the need will drive what the job opportunities are as well. So as you think about that, understand that career options for civic practice are pretty diverse. Christopher has posed a question about the internship. Would it be possible to go through details work history to see if I have enough experience? Absolutely. So if you have questions about, and thank you for asking this, Christopher, because it applies to a couple of different contexts. One, for the internship, I'm happy to consult with you to see if your work experience is relevant. But there's also later on in the presentation some opportunities where you might consider applying previous career experience to cover coursework in the program. So yes, Christopher, I'm happy to talk to you about that one-on-one if you apply and enrolled in the program. Next slide, please. So stackable graduate certificates, I mentioned earlier, and we shared a list earlier of our concentrations. Those concentrations are also offered as individual stackable graduate certificates. So what the stackable element of that means is that should you decide to apply and enroll in one of our certificate programs, that if you decide to go back and do the full MPA after you've completed the certificate, that coursework can be applied to the full MPA requirements. So once you've done that coursework, you can go back and complete the full MPA. Now, if you want to focus more immediately on some of these content areas, then you can earn a certificate. And each certificate is comprised of 4 courses that give you, like I said, that specialized knowledge and expertise in a particular practice area. So this is a great option for people who've done a significant amount of professional work in the field already, or if you have a professional situation where you need that immediate experience where you think this will be beneficial, then this is also a great option for you. Next slide. So I will hand it off to Sheila as we go into talking about student support and success. And I guess as my closing thoughts, if you have any questions about the program, please don't hesitate to reach out. This program is truly unique and different and distinct from any other programs I've seen throughout the country. And perhaps I'm biased, but there is some evidence to back this up. I do think our program is the best in the country, and our students are by far really some of the best students that I've had the opportunity to work with. And we're really about supporting our students and helping you to get to achieve your professional and personal goals. So with that, I'll hand it off to Sheila. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's my pleasure to talk about how we support students, because I think we really do an incredible job at this. So SOPA has its own academic advisors that are dedicated to just our students. We don't share our academic advisors with any other part of Tulane University. So our advisors are available to students on a daily basis. I always like to sort of like share a tangible example. If you emailed your academic advisor, in their email signature, they'll have a link to their calendar. You can literally put yourself on their schedule for that day if they have availability. So that kind of access speaks to our commitment to students and how we want you to get what you need, not only to get into SOPA, but to successfully graduate from our program. I always tell students, we're committed to getting you in, but we're also committed to getting you to the finish line as well. So we're with you every step of the way. We shared a little bit about our expert faculty. Our faculty, I think, is part of what makes our program unique and incredibly great. The access to their own expertise in the field in which you're studying, I think you'll find to be invaluable. You can't really put that on a syllabus per se, but it's the experience in the classroom and the connections that you make with your faculty that I think helps launch the career trajectory that our students enjoy after graduation. We also have our own dedicated career advisor that we don't share with the rest of the school. She's available to all of our students, and she can help you by helping identify job opportunities in the market, as well as simpler tasks like updating your resume, updating your LinkedIn, even workshopping interviews. Those are sort of the tasks that she can help with, and she is available to all of our students. We do often, as Tulane University, have employers reach out to us with job opportunities. It gets filtered through our career office and sent out to our students through emails. So that's part of what we offer to our students as just a value added by attending SOPA. And then, of course, just the value of a Tulane degree. It's recognized nationally, if not internationally. And we have alumni in all 50 states. So if students are interested in moving from one state to the other, a Tulane degree will be recognized and valued. And you also can tap into our alumni network, which of course helps students develop connections. So we like to create access and lower barriers to students so that they can have those connections available to them. Next slide. All right, so Dr. Leek Francis briefly touched on the credit for prior learning. So we talk about our commitment to students. We know that going back to school, especially as an adult and as a working adult, that this is a commitment of time and of resources. And so we try to work with students to help them degree complete as quickly as possible and reach their goals, whether it's a certificate or a master's degree. So in our graduate program, program, you can earn up to 6 credits, which is essentially 2 classes for prior learning. So the example that I like to give is that if you have been doing grant writing, let's say in your professional career for the last 7 years, and you have to take a grant writing class, you may not need to take that class. Reach out to Dr. Leek Francis, talk to her, share your expertise that you have over your years of experience. Then she will meet with you to determine whether or not the skills that you already have meet the learning objectives of the class that you might have to take. If they do, you can get credit for that course. You can do that for up to 2 courses, which is a savings of time. For those of you who are going part-time, that could be an entire semester. And it's certainly a savings of upwards of $6,000. So we like students to take advantage of this opportunity and to know that we understand that they come to us with some knowledge already from the field. So we certainly hope that you all will consider this as an option if it's applicable to you. So I always like to share with students that the application process is straightforward and intentionally not tricky. Our application is an electronic application. You can find it on our website, sopa.tulane.edu. If you go to the top of our website, there's a big button that says apply. Just click that. It gets you into our application portal. You will see that we'll need some basic demographic information, where you're applying from, any undergraduate institutions from which you received credit. We'll need transcripts from any of those schools. You can send the transcripts either electronically or through by US mail. I do suggest electronically if possible. It's faster. We receive them much more quickly, and it certainly reduces the opportunity for transcripts to get lost in the mail. We are going to need you to upload an image of a current government ID. For most of you, that's going to be taking your phone and taking a picture of your driver's license. You just upload that image. We do not require the GRE. We like to let students know that we don't require that. We don't, there's a lot of data around standardized tests that they're not good indicators of success in graduate education. And so we subscribe to that. And so we don't require that. We also require a $50 application fee. However, as our thank you to you for attending this program, we waive that fee. So go ahead and submit your application, and you should just skip over the screen that asks you for your application fee. If for some reason you do go to the screen that says, please submit your application fee, please reach out to me and I can waive that fee. That is, do not be shy about that. Don't feel embarrassed by that. It shouldn't happen, but it does from time to time. If it does, please reach out to me. It's a very simple process on our back end, and we want to offer you the application fee as a thank you. If you have, there's also a written statement that you will need to provide, and a little bit about the written statement. Dr. Leek Francis uses the written statement, and I don't want to put words in her mouth, so you can certainly jump in 2 ways. She's interested in knowing your answers to the written statement. That helps her understand your readiness for the program and understand who you are and who is applying to her program. But it's also a written statement so that she can see the quality of your writing. So I always encourage students, take this part seriously. Definitely go through it, check your grammar, your spelling, all of those pieces, because it sort of serves a dual purpose. But Dr. Leek Francis, do you want to share a thought or two?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that, Sheila. I'll say that with the application, even though it's low barrier, the statement and the essay is your opportunity to put your best foot forward and to show why this program and this degree would be useful to you ultimately, because we do want students who are committed to civic sector work at some level and have given some thought to what that might look like. You don't have to have all the answers, but one of the questions in the statement deals with the most pressing, or in your opinion, a civic sector issue or challenge. So being able to articulate that and describe it and discuss it is really helpful. It's important. Another element to the application that I don't see listed on here is your resume. So that's another element that we use to see the work that you've done. And again, your commitment to this work. And if you don't have the career experience, then still providing a resume that outlines the experience that you do have is critically important. So as Sheila shared that, the application process is pretty low barrier, but these are some opportunities to really stand out. We do have a competitive pool of applicants. So I do take the application process very seriously. So thank you.
Great, thank you. So I want to share some deadlines about our application. For those of you who are interested, we have 3 starts. So we start summer, spring, and fall term. We are accepting applications for our summer term, which starts in mid-May, but our application deadline is May 1st. So you still have some time to submit it. We do have an early enrollment scholarship. So I encourage students, if you are interested in starting for summer, go ahead, get that application in, let us read it. We do read them on a rolling basis. So once they're completed, we will evaluate them and get you an admissions decision. But if you register for classes by April 25th, we will automatically offer you a $500 enrollment scholarship, early enrollment scholarship. It's our incentive to get students in the pipeline early and to get you admitted early, and also to give you a little extra breathing space on that first semester's tuition. We offer this scholarship for every semester. If you're interested in our traditional fall starts, our application deadline is August 1st, but once again, you can get that application in now. And if you get accepted and register for classes by June 1, you will go ahead and get that first semester incoming student scholarship. And then for those of you who want to start in January in our spring term, you have until January 1st to apply, but if you apply earlier and register by December 1, you'll get the $500 early enrollment scholarship. So these are ways that we continue our commitment to students to try and help you juggle the affordability of our program as well as your other commitments. So please take us up on the offer. We would love to be able to offer you that scholarship. All right, so just a little bit about our tuition rate. Our current tuition rate is $1,078 per credit hour. It will go up a little bit in the fall to $1,119. All of our classes are 3 credit hours. So it's a little bit over $3,000 a class. We do keep our fees very, very, very nominal. So I always like to share with students, I know that you're savvy consumers. I respect that. When comparing our program to other programs, factor in fees. There are other schools, even within our New Orleans community, that if you compare our tuition and fees versus theirs, their fees almost double the rates. And so we are actually incredibly affordable in our marketplace and also nationally. So keep that in mind. We keep our fees very low. Most of our students do apply for some sort of financial aid. If you are going to fall into that category, please go ahead and fill out your FAFSA form as quickly as possible. It can take a few weeks to get through the financial aid process. And so I encourage students not to wait on that. And then some of the types of aid that we offer students, for financial aid, there are federal grants and loans that you can take advantage of. If you are a veteran, we are a proud yellow ribbon school. And so we encourage you to look into taking advantage of that program. If you're active duty military or a veteran, we offer a 20% discount. If you are an active or retired public safety personnel, we also offer a 20% discount. I also, a couple slides previously, talked about the credit for prior learning. That is also a savings of up to $6,000. If any of you all are over 60 years old, we also offer a 20% discount for students over 60. And then if you are a full-time educator, we also offer a 20% discount. So there are ways. Oh, and we have our minority serving institution scholarship. So if you received your bachelor's degree from a minority serving institution, received your bachelor's degree from a minority serving institution, we offer a 20% discount. So that is also, I skipped over that. So there are multiple ways that we try to make a SOPA Tulane degree affordable and attainable for our students.
And I'll add to that. So we also have the partnership. So as you can guess, we have a lot of opportunities to make this accessible and affordable. And one I want to highlight is a partnership that we have with National League of Cities, which is a professional organization that supports civic individuals who work in local government. And the NLC partnership is through their National League of Cities University Leading Through Disruption program. And so anyone who is a member of NLC, they receive a 20% tuition discount. And if you have taken courses in the Leading Through Disruption program or are scheduled to take courses in the Leading Through Disruption program, you can get credit within the MPA or credit applied to the MPA for that work that you've done. So if you are interested in that and those scenarios apply to you, please reach out to me. My email is listed here. Email is the best way to reach out to me, and I can walk you through that process of connecting with NLCU so that you can get registered for their courses and Leading Through Disruption, and so that we can also get you in the process of receiving your tuition discount. So yes, and thank you to the person who flagged that for me in the chat.
All right, so on the screen right now is Dr. Leek Francis's contact information. If you all have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm going to have Anne drop my contact information in the chat. It's actually sgold@tulane.edu. If you have questions about the application process, I always encourage students to reach out. We philosophically believe that the application process is the beginning of our relationship building with our students, and we love getting to know our students. So please reach out. Do not feel like you're being, like it's an imposition or that we're gonna, think that you're being difficult. Quite the opposite. We like to get to know you. So any question, there's nothing too small, and we're here to support you literally from application through graduation. Any questions before we wrap up? I've seen several in the chat that we've been able to address. All right, I'm not sure that I see any more, but I appreciate everyone coming to this webinar, and we certainly hope that we will be welcoming you to our classroom soon. So thank you, everybody, and we look forward to seeing your applications.
Sheila, someone has asked for a transcript.
Oh, so what we do is you all will get a follow-up email tomorrow, and this entire recording will be attached to it, so you can rewatch it as many times as you want. No problem. You'll be getting another chance to go ahead and watch this.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.